Thanks for joining me. Welcome back to the In Spirit Flow podcast. Today's topic is going to be organization and implementation. This is something I have struggled with myself. I feel like it comes natural to those who were born and raised in maybe a very organized household, or they've worked a job in a position where they had to learn to be extremely organized. But if you haven't had that experience or life training, so to speak, this may not come natural to you. And I'm here to tell you that you have to get this under your belt, or you are going to essentially become the bottleneck of your business. What I mean by that is you can grow to a certain point without these skills, but once you reach that point, you are going to become overwhelmed if you don't master organization and how to effectively implement these practices. Okay? Part of organization is time delegation. And I really want to make the most of these podcasts, and I want to deliver the best topics I can. But if you want some more of what I have to offer, I want you to come find me over on Facebook. Very soon, I'm going to be starting a Facebook group devoted specifically to business owners just like you who want to grow and scale, but also feel like their life is coming together. They are not so overworked. They're not working 80 hours a week anymore, but they're still watching their business do better and better. And that is all part of being more organized. So that's why we're talking about this topic today. To start, I just want to let you know a little bit about my week. This week I did my first photo shoot for my business. And you may not be able to tell, but I'm actually extremely introverted and a little bit shy. And I definitely didn't feel ready for this photo shoot, but I knew that this was a really good opportunity. It was a great location that I had visualized, and I just knew I needed to jump on board. So whenever we talk about listening to those gut feelings, that's what we mean. It's that inner feeling of, man, I know I need to do that, but I don't feel ready, and then you do it anyway. So I went and did these photos. I only had a week to prepare, get my outfits together, and figure out how I kind of wanted this to look. And it turned out better than I could have even imagined. I'm really excited to share these photos and start using them in some of my marketing. But the lesson in that is just do the thing. If there's something you've wanted to do for a long time and you've been putting it off, you feel you're not ready, just jump in and do the thing, because now it's done and I am so thrilled with the results. And I wish that I wouldn't have waited so long, but everything happens in perfect timing, so it's all good. So back to organization. Now, this has been something I personally have not been very strong at previous times in my life, but I'm working on it. And that's something you need to realize too, is all of these topics that we discuss, they're part of a journey. They are practices that we need to put in place to become successful. And practices mean we do them repeatedly. It's not a one and done kind of a thing. So practice also means that sometimes you fall off track and you don't do what you should, and you learn from that of why it's so important to keep up with these practices. It's kind of like when you start working out and going to the gym. It's not very fun. It's really hard. You're not used to being sweaty, and you kind of want to give up frequently. And you're not very strong, so it's just not the best experience. But when you stick with it for even just a few weeks, sometimes even less than that, when you stick with something consistently, it starts to become your strength. It starts to become something you really enjoy doing. And in fact, you might even reach a point where if you don't get to work out, that irritates you. You want to get to the gym and release those endorphins. So this is kind of the same thing. If you naturally have this gut instinct of rejecting the idea of planning, that's kind of how I can relate to that. Is I used to want to be spontaneous. I wanted to see what I felt like doing in the moment. I don't want to force myself to do anything at a specific time. Well, these are false beliefs that we truly are hanging on to, but they're not serving us. So what I mean by that is, if you really want to grow and scale in your business, and even your life for that matter, you need to get organized. And so we're going to talk about how to do that today, because it's for your own good. It's for your own success, and you're actually holding yourself back by refusing to learn how to be organized. Okay. When it comes to being organized, I want you to think about anything that you need to bring into your life to make more time for. That might mean that you have to make room by getting rid of something else. That's a good way to think about time management, which is a big part of being organized. How are we spending our time? Are we spending it effectively? Are we wasting a lot of time? Are we spending it on things we think we need to do that are not really producing results? So you got to realize we all have the same 24 hours in a day. We all have the same capabilities. Elon Musk and me and the homeless guy down the street all have the same 24 hours in a day, and it all is, what do we do with it? Now, we all have things we have to do each and every day, each and every week. We have these tasks that are on the plate no matter what. If you have children, a lot of it's going to revolve around them. But be careful not to realize that some of these things we have to do, they cannot be used as an excuse. And if you carefully implement them into your schedule and block around that so you can do these other things that you have to make room for, you'll start to really learn that your time is the only thing that we can't buy more of or get more of. So if you want more out of your life, you've got to learn how to manage that time a little more effectively. And you can actually start making the most out of your time by getting organized. Okay? So one thing I want to talk about that I've kind of touched on is breaking through barriers. What do I mean by breaking through barriers? Well, some of our beliefs are not serving us, such as being organized and being planned ahead is boring, it's not fun, it's rigid. Well, actually, we get more organized and planned out so that we can plan in time to relax and have fun and do the things we really want to do. Spend that quality time with our family. If you don't do that, what ends up happening is you may get consumed by your business because you feel guilty that you're not doing enough. Guilty. You may be working 24/7 and you think you're multitasking, but you're actually being less effective. The only way that I believe you can truly multitask is when what they refer to as habit stacking, where, for an example of that would be, if I want to read or learn something new every single day, and I also want to work out every single day, maybe I put those things together and I listen to something while I'm working out. That can be an effective way to collapse time, so to speak, and get two things done at the same time. But studies have shown when you are actually working on different tasks using your brain on multiple things at once, it's actually taking you longer to do all of the things. So you really want to delegate specific time to specific tasks and stick to that. And you want to be realistic. You want to realize you're going to need a break. Breaks help our productivity, even if they're 5-10 minute breaks of stepping away from the task at hand. The computer screen, definitely. We need to give our eyes a break. Stretching, if you're sitting in a chair, you may experience some back pain. So you need to get up and mentally and physically give yourself a break to actually increase productivity. Some of my favorite things to do, as an example of that, would be when I've written something, whether it be a post or just physical writing. I brain dump, I write it all down, and then I step away and I come back to it later and I reread, and it's like a fresh set of eyes. So rather than sitting there staring at something for a very long time, give yourself a break and it might be more effective. Now, realize with breaking through barriers, there's a lot of things you're doing and making excuses for that are not serving your highest purpose, your greatest good. They're actually keeping you from being more successful and as successful as you truly can be because you want to be. That desire is there in you, or you would not be listening to this. So in order to really untap that potential, you've got to break through those barriers, which are basically the lies that we tell ourselves. I don't have time to get organized. I don't like it. That's not who I am. I really don't like that one, because who we are is up to you and it's constantly evolving. So you can't tell me that you're just not an organized person and that's your reason that you can't be. Because if you want to be, you can. It's as simple as that. So we're going to learn how to start becoming an organized person, even if that's not supernatural to us today. Well, first of all, it is Sunday. Happy Sunday. It is Spiritual Self-Care Sunday. And I usually like to keep Sundays where I'm not working. I don't really consider this work because I really enjoy talking to you about these subjects. But in theory, today is where we rest and reflect, and we are not spending our time producing more tasks, doing more things on our list. I suggest you can still be productive on a Sunday, but you want to prioritize that resting and reflecting, and particularly organizing is a good thing to do on a Sunday. Planning your week ahead so that when you get to Monday morning, you're not feeling that overwhelm. Overwhelm is something I deal with a lot, and I realized that this just comes from not really knowing what to do next and having a million things on my mind, and I'm storing them all in my mind rather than having a plan of attack of how to get them taken care of. So the next thing I want to cover is know thyself. Know thyself. If you know that you are really most productive in the mornings, for example, I would put my most important task, and not only that, but my most profit producing tasks, the ones that are going to give me the best results, I would do those things first. The things that might take the most brain energy, get those out of the way when you know you're feeling the best. If you know that you hit a slump every day in the afternoon, do not procrastinate that task. If procrastination is one of your problems, you need to know thyself and work on that. And basically you just work on that by getting prepared in advance and beating that habit. You just have to do it, set the time, and do it. So when it comes to prioritizing the tasks, I really want you to think of all the things that I can do on my list that I'm looking at here, which one is going to give me the best results? If I have only 15 minutes to devote today to my business, which is crazy, it should be a little bit more than that. But ideally, I don't want you working more than 2 hours a day on your business. That's the truth. I believe that our brain power is not going to be as effective if we go much longer than that. And I would definitely suggest taking breaks in between that. So I want you to prioritize those tasks based on which ones are going to give me the most needle-moving results. And what I mean by that is, what's going to make the boat go faster? What are the things that you've been putting off doing, but you know would create the biggest ripple effect? So that's going to be different for everyone. That's why I love coaching one-on-one, so I can really put myself into your business and see, it's great to have an outsider's perspective since you are in there, heads down, knee deep in the mud every day. You know these millions of tasks you have to do, or so you think you have to do. But when an outsider comes in and looks at it, they can really see what matters most and what could maybe afford to be outsourced, delegated, what costs could be cut, where time can be saved, etc., etc. So really consider having a chat with me. I am doing a really affordable starting rate that will not be around forever, but if you are interested in working with me, now is the time to get in. All I ask for that affordable rate is a testimonial of what it's like to work with me. So beyond that, I want you to start getting organized on a Sunday. And what I want you to do, if you're feeling overwhelmed and your gut's telling you want to just avoid doing it altogether, I want you to sit down with a blank piece of paper and a pen, and I want you to just brain dump. I like to put this in categories, and I want you to put down everything you know you have to do and include everything that you want to do that you haven't gotten around to doing, but deep down I want to exercise 5 times a week. I want to make healthy meals, but so far I've been using the excuse that I don't have time to do that or I don't have energy. Well, I need you to start asking yourself, how do I get more energy then? What is draining my energy each day? Oh, it's because I spend the first 5 hours of my day doing the important tasks, so I think, and I don't have any energy at the end of the day to go work out or cook a meal. That's not necessarily true. And well, what if you did that workout at the beginning of the day and you checked it off very first thing on your list before you even mentally went to your business? So there's all kinds of ways to begin to know thyself. Don't kid yourself. If you know that you're not going to want to cook a full meal at the end of the day, maybe you start to meal prep. Do a little meal prepping on Sunday so you at least have some of the harder stuff out of the way. And then all you have to do is put it together, throw it in the oven, whatever it may be. So I want you to do that brain dump. And I'm going to just open up an example of mine. Okay, so I have 2 businesses. I have this business that I'm growing, and I have another small business that I am sustaining, and I would like to grow that as well. But there's constantly new challenges to face, new things that I have to deal with. So there's that. There's a new business that requires a whole different set of energy and focus, because the growth part in the start of a business is the hardest. It's the most time intensive. But I would also say that maintaining a business is really difficult, because the same things that worked for you in the beginning may not still work for you to keep growing after you've been in business a few years. So you still kind of need to get innovative, but you also are expected to maintain these standards that you've created. And so there's a lot of different components there. Nonetheless, I have a list of things that need to be done every single day and week in the one business. And I have these new ideas of things that need to be created, or maybe more intensive, like creating a website for the new business. Something that's not going to get done in a day, but it needs to get done. And then I have my category of personal things. These are the goals that I want to do, work out 5 times a week, for example. Cleaning, shopping, just things like that. I also want my self-care spiritual Sunday. So I don't really want to be doing these tasks on a Sunday, so to speak. Well, those are just some examples of what I have on my list. But once you take your brain dump, an amazing thing happens. You get a load off of your shoulder, because it is now gone from in your head to on the paper. That means you can take a big old deep breath and let it go, because it's right here. You're not going to forget about it. And now you can assign when you're going to do it. So instead of beating yourself up in your head, you are going to put on paper in your calendar, your agenda, your planner, you are going to put when that task is going to be completed or when you're going to delegate time to work on it. Okay? So now that we've got our brain dump, I want you to open up your calendar and start assigning things. If we know we want to work out 5 times a week and we want Sundays to be self-care Sunday where maybe we don't feel that we have to work out, we've got 6 other days in the week to delegate working out. And I also know that working out makes me feel energized. It releases dopamine and I have a lot of anxiety. So that is something that helps my brain function a little bit better throughout the work week when I have a lot of stuff on my mind. So maybe I want to work out Monday through Friday. Or maybe I know thyself and know that midweek or later in the week, I may want a day off from working out consecutively. So maybe I take Friday off and I still go to the gym on Saturday. Just an example, but I want you to put that on the calendar. I want everything on this brain dump, even if it is vacuuming the floor, I want it on your calendar. Because what's going to happen is when you open up your daily calendar and now you see all these things you wrote down and the times that you assign to them, it's not just a to-do list. You decided it's best for me to work out in the morning first thing. I think it'd be best for me to do that cleaning next, get that out of the way, and then I can devote my mental energy for the whole rest of the day to these other tasks. You need to know yourself best. Don't kid yourself, don't lie to yourself, and assign the best times for you to do these tasks, and then you just open up your day and you do it. It takes all the pressure off of the temptation to procrastinate, the temptation to push it off, because you're looking and this is what you decided is best for you. There's not really anywhere else to put it because you have other things to do today. So it helps you push aside all those excuses and just get it done, do the thing. And I want you to plan for the unexpected. If you have kids and you know that, there's an early release day and they're going to be bringing their friends over, for example. That's not something I personally relate to, but for example, prepare for the unexpected. Prepare for letting your dogs out a few times a day. Don't block yourself so tight in a schedule that it feels like a prison. You want to give yourself some room to breathe. That is what you wanted when it comes to being a business owner. You want some freedom. And eventually we're going to get you to where you're only really working a few hours a day max in your business, and you're spending the rest of the time visualizing, learning something new, taking care of yourself. You have to do these things if you really want to grow and scale. Otherwise, you're basically just treating yourself as another employee of your own business, except you're an employee that's getting paid less to do way more, and you're working overtime and you're not seeing the results. So if you want to get to that point of working just a couple hours a day and taking multiple days off throughout the week because you know things are taken care of, you got to get organized. And this I want you to practice every single Sunday, planning out the week, doing your brain dump, putting it on the calendar. And then I want you to practice doing it every single month, a big old brain dump for the bigger tasks. Okay, so today is Sunday, July 30th. I'm going to be preparing for August. What if I had to have a vision board, which I love vision boards, but I also recommend a physical writing down of a brain dump of everything you want to achieve that you haven't had time for or the energy for up to this point. Then I want you to work it into your calendar. Give it a deadline. If you've got 3 big new projects, for me, getting my photos taken was one of those. You may realize it's going to take some time to prep for. You're going to have to go get the outfits. You're going to have to travel to do the photos. You're going to have to take time off your schedule. Just get it on the calendar. That's how this stuff happens. That's how you cross things off, big projects off of your to-do list. So I want to let you know that if you are feeling overwhelmed, all you got to do is a brain dump, put it all on paper, assign it a time that you're going to work on it and get it done. And be specific. Don't just say, I'm going to work on my website. You need to say, I'm going to get X done for the website today. And the next day, I'm going to get Y done for the website. See what I mean? So the more specific you can be, the more you can assign a deadline and a date to these things, the better you're gonna feel and the way more you're gonna get done than if you just wing it and hope for the best. So I hope that this was helpful for you today. I don't want you just being organized and planning at the beginning of the year. You really should be doing quarterly audits of how am I doing on everything I said I'd do at the beginning of the year. We're a little over halfway through the year now, so it's a good time to do a reset. If you've fallen off track, get back on it. That's the best thing you can do for yourself. So I hope you found this helpful. Make sure you go over and follow my page, In Spirit Flow, on Facebook. I'm on Instagram as well, but I recommend Facebook because we are going to be getting a Facebook group started with everyone that needs to be in this community. Business owners, entrepreneurs, people who want to essentially get way more of their time back, but also a lot more freedom. So if that is you, come join me over there. Again, I'm Bree. I've enjoyed hanging out with you today, and I hope to see you soon.